Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Chasing the Moon RV. I'm Zia, and I make videos about full-time van life. If you're one of my regular viewers, you'll notice that there wasn't a video on Sunday. It was the BC Day long weekend here, and I had planned on taking a 5-day mini holiday. And I was going to take you along with me. There was going to be a family get-together 50th birthday party, and I was going to spend some time with my son at his holiday park and spend some time with my sister at our favorite lake. And the first day with the party and the family get-together was wonderful. It went really well. But then I fell ill, and that started me thinking about, what do you do if you live full-time in a van, or even if you're on a road trip of some sort and you become ill? I hadn't really given it much thought, to be honest. And so I've got 5 tips for you that might help if you come across that situation, and I sure hope that none of you do. But here we go. Tip number 1. Really important, I think. A lot of people don't have any sort of emergency toilet in their vans or campers. And honestly, I highly recommend it. Like I said before, I hope you never have to use it. But if you come down with food poisoning or a touch of the stomach bug, you're going to be really glad you had it. Along with that, I would suggest you have a collapsible bucket in your vehicle. Again, if you come down with one of those 2 things, you're probably going to need both of those at the same time. And I can't imagine what it would be like to wake up in the middle of the night feeling ill and not having either of those available for you. So make sure that you have those on hand. Tip number 2 would be, make sure that you always have lots of water available to you, and food, especially food that's easy to digest. Because if you haven't been well, you're not going to feel like eating a lot of the heavier foods that we often gravitate towards, or at least I do anyway. So things that are easy to digest, and perhaps even some sort of electrolyte drinks in case of an emergency. I was really lucky because although I was ill, I was only an hour and a half from my town, my city, and I was able to come and stay with family. Now, I did stay in Luna, my van, but because my bed is so comfortable and because everything I need is in here. But it was a comfort to me to be parked at a family member's home and to know that they were there if I became more ill or if I needed anything. In fact, going back to the suggestion about making sure you're topped up with water and food, I was low on both, and I didn't have anything, that I felt would be good for me to eat either. So happily, my family took care of that, got me some electrolytes and easy to digest foods. So I'm very grateful to them for that. I think tip number 3 would be to make sure that you always have on hand some basic over-the-counter medications, painkillers for reducing fever, inflammation, cough drops, that sort of thing in case you come down with flu. Yeah, just basic medications, because if you wake up and you're not well, you're not going to want to drive to a drugstore to get those things. So keep that sort of thing on hand. One really important thing, especially if you are traveling and you're not familiar with the area you've been, that you're staying in, this would be tip number 4, would be to make sure that you know the location where you're staying. Even if it's just crossroads, if you're stealth camping somewhere, or know the address of the campground you're staying in case you have a medical emergency and you need an ambulance or some sort of help. Having that available to you so they know how to reach you as quickly as possible is really, really important. Every time you stop somewhere, make note of where you are. Take a screenshot of the Google map or write down the location, but make sure you have that on hand for emergency medical help. Along with that, I always, up here on my visor, I won't show you the other side of it, but I have a little sheet on my visor that has written on it in case of an emergency. And it has details about myself on it, age, any health issues, any medications, and also information on there about my dog Charlie and his needs, because he's on medications every day as well. That's tip number 4. Tip number 5. Again, this would be for any sort of an emergency situation, would be to get yourself a GPS satellite communicator. The one I have is this one here. It's an InReach Mini by Garmin, Garmin. They're not cheap, that's for sure. I think the cheapest one I found might have been through Amazon, and I think it was $350. I think that was Canadian, but I'm not sure. You'd have to double check that. But it's wonderful because you can set up a text to send to someone every day just saying, I'm okay, I'm fine, just so that your family, if you're out of reach as far as cell phone range or Wi-Fi, you can send them via the satellite communicator just a heads up, I'm doing fine every day, and put your family's mind at ease. The other thing is that there is an emergency button on it. Say you were out hiking somewhere and you had a fall and injured yourself, or you were in a dangerous situation, or you had a medical emergency while you were in your vehicle. Pressing the emergency button will send out your coordinates to the nearest emergency center, fire, police, ambulance, and help will be on the way. So although they are expensive, I think especially if you are a van lifer or a van traveler who likes to spend a lot of time in the backcountry or on BLM land, it gives you a great deal of peace of mind to have that available to you. There is, besides the initial outlay for the instrument, there is also a monthly charge, but there are different options available, and that's something I would highly recommend too. So those are my 5 top tips for if you're not well and you're living in a van or you're traveling in a van. I'd love to hear any other tips any of you have. I'm sure there's a lot of really good ideas out there, and I'd love to have you share them with me. It'll be helpful to anybody else that's watching who's either thinking about doing van life or is doing van life and hadn't given any thought to what happens if you get sick. I had to some degree, but I think until it happens to you, you don't think, oh my gosh, I should have had that on hand, or, you know. Anyway, it wasn't the video I thought I was going to be sharing with you, that's for sure. I thought there were going to be lots of lovely scenes of the lake, and yeah, it just didn't pan out this time. But I'm still hoping to get back out there. The weather actually, as it turns out, has turned, and so it wouldn't have been that nice to be up there right now anyway, so maybe it was just as well to get sick now while the weather's not that nice. Anyway, I'm feeling much better, and I will be going out there again, and I will take you with me because it's a lovely little lake and it's a lovely drive out there, and not too far to get there either. Like I said, only about an hour and a half away, and it's I've been going up there since the 1950s with my family, so it's a very, very special place for me. In fact, the painting up on the wall there is a view of the lake that my daughter commissioned for my 70th birthday. So very special to me, that place. Oh, and in case of any of you are wondering, because you're not going to see Charlie's bed back there, I know a very, very special lady who loves Charlie to pieces and does dog boarding as well. Her company and her husband's company is called the Wolf Walkers, and they're in Richmond, BC. This is not a sponsored ad for them. I trust them implicitly. They're wonderful with Charlie, and I thought it would be nice for me to have a little break from Charlie, and for Charlie to have a break too. It's much hotter, just an hour and a half away from here, and so I knew that I wouldn't be able to comfortably leave him in the van. So because I came back and I was unwell, I let him stay with the boarders to give myself an extra couple of days to get over this, and I'll be picking him up tomorrow. Thank you to the new subscribers on my channel. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. The more people subscribe, the more people get to see the video. And it helps my channel enormously. It would be very, very much appreciated. Hit the bell if you want to be notified when the next video is coming out. And as always, wherever you are in the world, morning, afternoon, or evening, I hope you're having a great, fabulous day, and I'll say bye-bye for now.